Most people believe that decisions happen at the moment of choice. We imagine a clear instant where options are consciously weighed, alternatives are compared, and a rational conclusion is finally reached. This belief feels intuitive because it matches how decisions are experienced internally. But by the time you feel you are choosing, the decision has often already been shaped. In reality, human decision-making rarely begins with conscious thought. It starts earlier, in quieter and less visible ways, influenced by context, emotional states, and the conditions surrounding the choice itself. These influences do not feel intrusive or manipulative. They feel natural, which is precisely why they are so effective. When decisions feel natural, they rarely feel questioned. In this video, we will explore how decisions are formed before awareness, and why choice often feels free even when the outcome has already been guided. To understand this process, it helps to separate two ideas that are often treated as the same thing: deciding and choosing. Choosing is the visible moment, the final step where one option is selected and action becomes concrete. Deciding, however, is a process that unfolds gradually over time, as possibilities are filtered, framed, and narrowed long before conscious evaluation begins. Long before you actively compare options, your mind has already eliminated many of them. This filtering happens automatically, based on past experience, perceived risk, emotional tone, and social cues. What feels like an open field of choice is often already constrained by earlier judgments that shaped which options felt acceptable, realistic, or even imaginable. What remains feels like freedom, but it is already structured. Emotion plays a central role in this process, not as an enemy of rationality, but as a mechanism of prioritization. Emotional responses signal importance. They highlight what matters now and push other considerations into the background, often without conscious awareness. Because emotion shapes attention, it also shapes judgment. A decision made in a state of calm does not feel the same as one made under pressure, uncertainty, or anticipation. The emotional context does not replace reasoning. It silently guides it. This does not make decisions irrational. It makes them deeply dependent on conditions. Context itself is one of the most powerful forces in shaping decisions. The same option can feel reasonable in one situation and unthinkable in another, even when the underlying facts remain identical. Changes in framing, timing, or social environment can radically alter how a choice is perceived. Once the context is set, the outcome often feels obvious. In hindsight, the decision appears natural, even inevitable, and the sense of free choice remains intact. Rarely do we notice how strongly the structure of the situation guided us toward that conclusion. These mechanisms are not rare or exceptional. They operate constantly in everyday life. In professional environments, personal relationships, financial decisions, and moral judgments, choices are shaped quietly by the conditions in which they occur. Understanding this does not mean that people lack agency. It means that agency operates within boundaries that are often invisible. Awareness does not eliminate influence, but it changes how influence is experienced. When you begin to notice how decisions are shaped before they reach consciousness, choice itself starts to look different. Not as a single moment of control, but as the final expression of a longer, more complex process. Throughout this video, we explored how decisions rarely begin at the moment of choice, but are formed earlier through emotion, context, and framing. By the time a decision feels clear, much of the work has already been done. When conditions are carefully shaped, the final choice often feels self-evident. This is not manipulation by force, but influence through structure. Once you understand this, the question is no longer how you choose, but who or what shaped the conditions before you did.